Go on, Sabs.
Honestly, anything you got, tell me, lay it on me. Like, I'll be as open as you want me to.
Oh, look, okay.
Man.
I won't even lie to you. I won't lie to you.
You know what?
Keep it classy.
You should have asked that stuff, man.
Oh,
'Cause
everyone
everyone always wants to know this stuff.
Alright,
like,
so we're here today with Saav the Magician. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, Pre. How about yourself?
Yeah, kick it in there. So you've just come from a gig. What gig was
I just came
that?
from a gig in Shoreditch called Bad Brunch, and it's a monthly brunch that goes on with the Faded team. So just having some fun. They're doing card tricks and all that. So yeah, Saturday lunchtime fun.
So I'm sure everybody's seen by now. Obviously, you're a magician. How did you fall into that?
So many years ago, I was a very quiet kid. Like, I used to talk to people, but I was very I kept to myself. And I used to get given magic sets that I never really paid attention to. And then one day, this was I think in 2006, my brother was like, check this guy out on TV. And it was Dynamo. It was Dynamo when he was probably, I don't know,
Nice.
22, 23 maybe. And he made a card disappear, and we just kept rewinding it, and we were just like, how the hell is he doing that? And it was just an interest at the time. I was like magic's pretty big in my family. We all used to collect magic sets when we were younger and stuff, but it wasn't until year 7 or year 8 Dynamo started doing stuff with Adidas. So he was still it was like if you knew about him, you knew about him. You were part of a select fan base, but he started doing stuff with Adidas, and all of a sudden, like I remember that Christmas, I was trying to get into it, but like when you type in magic tricks on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
And then my mum and dad, they bought me a Marvin's Magic set for Christmas, and they said maybe this is where you're meant to be, like maybe this is your thing. And then it just sort of gradually like evolved. Like, oh man, there's so many.
That's so sick though. So your parents actually were like. So wait, let's rewind a little bit. So what's your ethnic background?
So British Punjabi.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's more or less.
That's it, British Punjabi. Yeah. So and your parents actually told you like this is your calling.
Yeah, they said maybe this is where
sick.
your thing is. Like, because I didn't really talk to much people as a kid. Like, I was quite shy, but they noticed when I was finding cards and like learning stuff with YouTube that I was, like at family events, I'd obviously go around showing card tricks to people, and not everyone obviously appreciated it as Indians do, but like I think they kind of saw that it was maybe something that could become an interest, and then I guess they just wanted to encourage it.
And they saw like the potential in you. That's a lesson for all other parents out there, man. You got to encourage your kids because you're doing fucking sick now, aren't you?
I think there's not enough Asian parents out there that encourage their kids to do what they actually like.
Yeah.
It's more like, just keep it as a side hobby. Like, that'll never get you money or whatever. But there is, like that could push someone like into their career.
Because you're still real young, aren't you? You're 24.
I'm only 24, yeah. So I just turned 24 about a month ago. And
Happy birthday.
And I was, I think, 12 years old when I got into it. Yeah. But like, I think these 11 years almost, they've flown really quickly. So like I kind of remember all the steps as they happened. Like there was the magic set. Obviously we saw Dynamo before that, and then when we saw Dynamo on TV, it's weird. Like 2 weeks later, so this was like long before I got the magic set. Me and my dad were at an exhibition in London, and he was there. He was with Western Union. Like in baggy jeans, like Adidas trainers and a cap. He was doing stuff with like money and all this kind of stuff. And I went up to him and I was like, "You're Dynamo." I was like, "Dad, that's Dynamo on TV that we saw." He was like, "What's Dynamo going to be doing here?" And then he turned around, he's like, "Oh snap, that's Dynamo." So I went up to him, and I remember him saying, he was like, "Oh yeah, let me show you guys something." And I asked him to do that trick that he done on TV, when he made the card vanish.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my God," like. And then my dad was like, "Oh, do you have a business card?" And he was like, "Give me a second." And he pulled out a blank card and he just wrote his website and his phone number on there.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm going to be working on big stuff soon." And I've still got that card. So that card's like, what is it? It's 2019 now. So that's about 12 years old.
12 years old.
I've got it perfectly preserved.
Have you ever bumped into him again?
Yeah. So we're actually friends now, funny enough.
Oh, I feel like that deserves a round of applause, man. That's
crazy,
amazing.
Like, being friends with your hero is something else. So that basically came about through my high school, Greenford High School. So when I was in year 10, I had a teacher, my sociology teacher, Miss Dalmasen at the time, who's Miss Bush now. she was obsessed with magic. She was like, oh my gosh, like your stuff is amazing. She used to keep me behind after and be like, show me something, and then bring in older students or like take me out of classes and make me show older students and stuff and be like, check out this kid in my year 10 class, he's really good. And then she was like, oh, who's your inspiration? I was just like, oh, it's Dynamo. And she was like, who's that? And I was like, oh, I'll show you. And again, he didn't have much on YouTube. And then she emailed, so this was 2011, she emailed his manager saying, would Dynamo be willing to come into school to do a Q&A about, for our sociology students about how it was coming from Bradford, you know, like from his background to like being celebrity magician status. And she said to the class, well, she said to all of us, she was just like, he's probably going to charge a lot and all this kind of stuff. And then she got an email back, and it said it was his manager saying Dynamo would love to come in, and he doesn't want to charge you guys either. So he came to the school, and I was just like, I didn't know any of this until she said, can you stay behind after class? I was like, okay. And then she was like, look on my desk and look at the email. And I was reading it. I was like, oh my gosh, Dynamo is going to come to the school. Like,
that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I was like 15. I was going crazy. I was like, what did you say to him? She was like, I just asked him to come in for a Q&A and he wants to come in. Like,
wow. And now you're doing something similar. This is the whole purpose of this podcast. I should have really started off with a thank you for you coming down.
Thank you for having me.
But like, what we want is we want something like that. So like Dynamo coming in to your school when you were 15, and obviously now you're a full-time magician pursuing your dream kind of thing. And we want the same. We want like a platform here with this podcast where like people can share their creative journeys, and like somebody else listening can be like, okay, cool, I can follow the same path or similar path or whatever. Yeah. But it's like, it's ridiculous. So you had two like different adults or mentors, I guess, really push you. So your teacher and your parents. Yeah. They must have played a massive part in it.
Yeah, I think, you know, my teacher at the time, she was probably one of the best teachers we ever had. Like, I was just like, you know, the fact that she actually emailed his manager just to see that if he would come to school, I was like, they must have seen it, that I was really keen. And I remember when he came into the school, like, she was like, okay, you're going to have to collect him from the office and sign him in and everything. I was like, I can't do that. I was proper shook. And I remember seeing him and his manager walking up to the gate, and I was really shaking. I was just like, oh my gosh, like, that's him right there. And when he came in, like, obviously they were signing themselves in, and then he came up to me and I was shaking, like you could see me shaking, like, you know, I looked like a nervous wreck. Yeah. And he came up, he was like, oh, what's up, man? I'm Dynamo. And I was just like, my hand was literally like that. I was like, I'm Saav. And he was like, are you okay? I was just like, yeah, it's just, I've met you before. And he was like, where? And I was like, oh, I'll show you. And basically that time when we met him at the exhibition, we actually took a photo together. Yeah. And it's on my Instagram. You guys can see it if you go deep down. But I had a print out of that, and I was like, I met you so I was I think 15 at the time, and then, so I was like, I met you 6 years ago, and this is us, like, back then. That's
incredible, man.
And he looked at it, and he showed his manager. He was like, do you remember that gig that we done? And he was like, oh my gosh. And then he goes to me, he was like, were you with your dad that day? I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, you remember me. Yeah. And then his manager also does his photography, so we took some photos together, and then we were chatting on the way to the assembly hall, and he was like, what got you into magic? And I was like, you did. And, you know, we were having a chat. Like, I was like, I can't believe this. I'm talking to Dynamo, and he still wasn't like mainstream. Yeah. So
that's incredible. Like, it's weird how like stuff in that age period. So you were in like your early teens. It's weird how like stuff influences you. For me, my Dynamo was Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle. When I was 13, I saw like a clip on his from Killing 'Em Softly on YouTube, and I literally almost instantly, it was like, oh, I fucking love comedy, man.
The thing is, when you're a teenager, it's like you're kind of more like, you're very influenced by things around you, and obviously if one thing sort of sticks more than the rest, you're gonna go that kind of direction. Yeah. So
with magic as well. So this is one question I was like burning to ask you, right? So at what point does it go from being like, oh, I want to be a magician, to, okay, I'm a magician? Like, in your own head, when was that switch?
That's a really good question. It's like, obviously, I always thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm really bad, or like people would catch the tricks out. But you know, when you show people magic, like, they don't know whether you're good or bad. They just sort of rate what they see there. Yeah. So like, I would go up to people and do it, And I, like in my head, I thought, no, this is a really bad trick. This isn't going to fool anyone. But they're like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? And I'm just like, okay, so in their eyes, I'm really good.
Yeah.
So I think it's up to the people, really. Like,
to sort of decide whether it's
yeah.
good or not. Like, how old were you when you were like, okay, cool, I'm going to start doing this full time?
So I was, I think, 16 or 17. So I was just going into sixth form, and I told my mum, I was like, I want to be a magician.
Yeah.
And obviously, I just got the standard, please do your A levels and go to uni.
Yeah.
And my dad, who's actually in the events game, he has a company called LED Factory. He said to her,
shout out to LED Factory.
Shout out to LED Factory. He said to her, he was just like, let the kid do his magic thing. And obviously, my mum was like, no, he's got to study and stuff.
Yeah.
And then she said, she was like, okay, do this. If you can get me a degree, you can be a full-time magician after.
So what's your actual degree in then?
Graphic design.
Bro.
So it's nothing to do with magic, but
I like your mum sounds like a shark, bro. Get her on The Apprentice with negotiating skills like that.
Hustle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
she's like, get me a degree, 4 years of your life, and you could be a magician.
Yeah, it's weird now because, like, you know, a degree is so expensive these days. I think it's like 9,000 a year.
Yeah.
So that if you think about it, all those years, that's like 27K, and I'm just like, yeah, I do card tricks for a living now. Like, and like all the relatives and stuff, they used to think when I was little, yeah, he's never gonna do this, and they're like, crap, he's actually doing this. Like,
I love that. All them hating aunties.
Oh, man.
At weddings, they were first like, "Hey, Kimunda Kariyanda," and now they're like, "Meet our daughters."
It was literally like that, and I'm just like, you weren't saying that when I was little. Like, so
I love that.
What changed your tone? Like,
what was the reaction of like extended family, or even just like the general community in and around, like, so your parents' friends and stuff?
It was a mixed reaction. Like, obviously, in Punjabi families, you know, like some families are still old school, some families are new school, but my family's very modern. Like, my mum and dad were like, "Oh, just do it. It's great." But we did have some relatives. I'm not going to name anyone, but one of my mum's relatives said, "Oh, what's your son doing? He's getting into gambling at such a young age." No joke. And like, obviously, she used to tell the family, and then all the other uncles and aunties, they were just like, "Are you crazy? Like, this guy's doing sick tricks." Like,
yeah.
So every family party or wedding, like, obviously, there was kind of free entertainment when you think about it. And I think it was after that Dynamo meeting where I started getting in more gigs that people started realizing, they were just like, damn, he actually done this and pushed for it. So after that, it just kind of all stopped. Like, no one could really talk smack about it anymore.
Right.
And like, everyone in the family knows me as the magician now. Like,
That's
I got my cousins, everyone, they're just like, we got someone who wants a magician, can you pass me a number? And I'm like, yeah, please. So it's really strange.
That's great, man. That's great. Does it feel like you've achieved something?
Yeah, like, you know, like if you look 10 years ago, I wasn't the same kid I was. I was very shy, I was very quiet, but magic sort of brought me out of my shell. Like, you kind of know how to talk to people when you start doing tricks on them, and it's like you become a people person.
Yeah.
Like, and don't get me wrong, there's magicians out there, you know, there's great magicians, but not all of them are the best talkers. Like, you know, they're kind of like, they do the magic, but if it comes to just holding a normal conversation, it's a bit difficult for them. But with me, it's kind of, I learned how to hold a conversation with someone. I was like, I'm finally a people person. I'm not shy anymore. So it really did help me. Like, I think I achieved that sort of social skill.
That's wicked, man. So it's like magic helps you, and now you're helping magic, isn't it?
Yeah,
like creating tricks and stuff.
Yeah, you know, I create my own magic. I help create magic for other magicians sometimes. And I got some really cool friends. My mate Luke, there's Magic Singh, of course.
Yeah.
We all work together, and, you know, we sort of just come up with effects together, obviously for Instagram, YouTube, what we're going to do in our live gigs. And it's a very community-based art form.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you bump into, like, so on the comedy circuit, obviously I've started to know, like, up near comedians and stuff, but then, like, also it's like a pretty tight-knit community. Is it the same with, like, magic people? Yeah,
well, I'd say it's mixed. Like, you know, like, there's obviously comedians that probably don't like each other, but it's the same with magic. Like, a lot of us are normally cool with each other. You know, like, me and Magic Singh, I normally tell people, I'm like, yeah, that's my older cousin. Like, it's just, we've got that relationship now. But there are, you know, like, funny magicians out there. There's always going to be, like, weird people in every art form.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be said. But what can you do about it? Put it that way.
Yeah.
It's like, you just sort of keep to the guys that you know, you get good energy off and that's it.
Yeah. We're with you. We were talking before you came in. We were talking about the Masked Magician.
Oh yeah. So I used to watch him years ago, like after I got given that magic set. It was like I said, all these things sort of timed perfectly, and my dad was like, "This banda's revealing magic on TV," and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh!" And you know, like most of the time, it's funny because he's wearing the mask, but you're not looking at him. You're looking at all these assistants he's hired. And my dad was just like, "Are you seeing how he's doing it?" And I'm just like, I was interested in the secrets, and my mum and dad, they're watching it, and they're just like, "How is this kid not seeing where the trick's actually happening?" Right? But I thought it was like a lot of magicians don't like him. Like, let's be real. But,
because he was revealing tricks and stuff.
Yeah, he was revealing tricks. But I don't think it was a bad thing because I used to have so many people say to me, "Oh, do you know the Masked Magician?" I was just like, "Yeah, like he's really funny." Like, it's just the way he's sort of done this on camera and like
the hand movements.
It's proper strange. Like,
yeah.
But you know, the show was really cool, and obviously when I saw the secrets of how it was done, that pushed me more into, oh my gosh, I wonder how I could do this or that. And it was crazy seeing all the behind the scenes, especially with the illusions, because obviously, you know, like again, magicians aren't going to be happy with this, but he was telling you how to cut people in half and how people on stage do it, how street magic happens. I was like, it's really cool.
That's wicked, man. But like, what like happens if somebody reveals like a trick?
What, and they're in the magic circle?
Yeah. No. Are you part of the magic circle?
I am.
Oh, whoa.
They're probably listening in on us right
now.
Yeah,
they phone tapped us and everything.
Yeah, proper. With the magic circle, like, I'm going to be honest, they can't really police it.
Yeah.
So they'd probably just kick you out of the society, and I know people that have been kicked out.
What's the benefits of being in the magic circle then?
I don't think I'm allowed to divulge that.
Okay. We're getting into some secret society shit.
I think the most I can reveal is, so they host lectures every week, and obviously a magician or a mentalist will come in. We sort of learn of each other. Obviously, there's a social side of it. So there's like loads of magicians that just come together, and we sort of just share secrets. Like, and we sort of decide how we would do a certain situation, or what's new in magic, or, you know, like maybe someone's reworked an old trick and made it work for the modern day. So, like, it is more of a social thing. Like, there's a library downstairs. Like,
oh, nice. Okay.
I don't know if it's like, I haven't gone that often, so I don't know if there's like a restricted section like Harry Potter.
Of course not. You're a fucking magician. Fuck libraries now. You ain't no graphic designer. You've signed off your rights to a library. No reading, bro.
There's like an inner sanctum as well, which I haven't been in, but, you know, because the thing is, it's weird. Like, it looks like a normal building from the outside, but when you go in, it's like Doctor Who, like, you know, when you go into the ship and it's like this giant room inside. Yeah. Like, the first thing you see is a staircase that goes like higher than the ceiling that was outside. So it's really strange. It's like the whole building.
Are you describing Hogwarts?
It is essentially like, it is real life Hogwarts when you think about it. It's proper freaky stuff. Like, I remember my first time there when I was like 13. Again, after the magic set was given to me, my dad got a call there to supply some lights for the magic circle, and he said, "Can I bring my son? He's just getting into magic." And they said, "It's only over 18s." And he was like, "Oh, sorry, I can't bring you." And then they rang him back and said, "Actually, bring him along. Like, it'd be nice to get to meet him."
It's so weird that you've had like these like little things happen, where it's like almost the stars of like a line.
It can't be coincidence. Like, you know.
Oh, like, do you believe that this is like your purpose? Like,
you know, like I feel like you always get signs around you telling you what you should be doing or where you should be. And, you know, like the whole dynamite at the start, you know, maybe that was just a random fluke, but then the magic set, and then, you know, going to the magic circle, and then my teacher calling in dynamite, it's like all these things sort of lined up. And, you know, if one of those didn't happen, you know, maybe we wouldn't even be here talking about this. Like,
that's incredible. That's incredible. Like those like little small things, and even off camera you were doing like tricks, and it's like we want to believe you. Like I personally don't want to know how tricks are done and stuff. I just want it to be like cool, it's done. It's magic, bro. Like, that's it.
Like, you know, there's people out there that do believe, like, you know, like Gala Jaddu and all that kind of stuff. But,
now we're getting into some deep secret. Like, why people are listening to this being like, what the fuck?
It's so funny. There's certain
we're talking about black magic.
There's certain tricks I do that look like black magic, and I always say at the start, and I'm like, "Oh, do you guys, you know, like, do you believe in black magic and stuff?" And, you know, everyone's all of a sudden gets on a bit of a, wait, what the hell's about to happen? And it's funny because I want like, you know, like for me, I don't like there's magicians that go out and they'll do tricks, but they don't actually, like, I've had magicians tell people, "Oh, everything's fake, none of it's real." And I'm just like, why would you be a magician if you're like telling people that it's fake? Like, they want to believe you. Why are you destroying that belief. Whereas when I go out, I want it to be like a full-on experience, like, and I don't want them to know what it might be. Like, maybe it is a trick, maybe it is magic, but that's for them to decide.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it 10 times more impressive, that they'll never know.
Yeah.
So,
let's get down this rabbit hole. What are your beliefs on black magic? Your personal beliefs, bro.
I do not dabble in it. I do know a couple of guys that have sort of done some weird stuff in it. I think everyone has some weirdo in their family that has probably done, like, every brown person has a weird relative that's probably dabbled in it.
Every brown family has that one relative that's been ostracized because, like, they're doing black magic. Like, you got to leave them out of there.
I think it's hilarious. Like, you know, I've got a lot of my Pakistani friends. They're just like, do you mess with jinns by any chance? And I'm just, sometimes, a lot of the time I used to say no, because obviously I didn't know what that was. And then when I realized, they're talking about demons and stuff, I'd be like, yeah, I do. And, like, you can see the look on their face. I'm like, no, I'm joking. They're like, please don't say that again. And you can see the fear
If
on their
EDL
face.
members ever learned how to actually scare people, all they'd have to do is mention jinns.
Yeah, literally.
That is it. That's the new EDL strategy.
I think it's hilarious. Like, you know, like, obviously don't mess with black magic if you're a brown person or any other coloured person, but there is something.
Yeah, white people go crazy sacrificing chickens if you want.
Yeah.
Like, you guys go for
You
it.
see that stuff in horror movies enough as it is, isn't it? I don't dabble with it, but I think there's truth to it, personally.
Yeah.
Like, it is a dark. It's like what Defense Against the Dark Arts in Harry Potter. It's like that, isn't it?
Basically what you're saying is you're a good magician. You concentrate
I don't screw your life up when I do the magic. I try to better your life.
If any of us die on our way out of here today,
you know it was me.
There's just like a lighting structure just gonna fall. Like, that's it. We're done.
And then you see the lightning burns and it says Saav was here.
It's just like it's tattooed on your forehead. What would like obviously like everything's been like quite light and stuff like so far, but what were like some challenges that you really had, like you feel that you had to like properly overcome?
I think like the main one was just being a brown skinned magician, because you never ever see that. So when I was younger, obviously, like, you know, everyone always says, oh, do you know Paul Daniels or David Blaine? And obviously you say, yeah, I do, but you know, like, there was never any like Asian role models out there until one day my dad came home from an event. He goes, Saav, I just met a guy called Magic Singh. And I was like, say what? Like, you know, like, I just thought it was a joke or something. Yeah. And he goes, no, like, he's up on our bunda, he's got a bug and everything. And he showed me his business card and he was like, go on his YouTube. And I don't think Magic Singh was uploading much at the time, but he had his show reel and I was like, oh my gosh, like, there's actually, you know, a Punjabi guy that's actually doing it. Yeah. So that told me that if he could do it, then I could do it. Because normally, like, let's be straight, it is something you only saw white guys in a bow tie and a top hat do. Yeah. And, you know, like, obviously David Blaine came along and made it cool for street magic, but, you know, when I saw Magic Singh, I was just like, yeah, I can definitely do this.
So that representation was, like, proper important, like, in your own journey?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, like, if you look at Magic Singh now, he's...
Household name, isn't it?
Yeah, he is almost a household name. And, like, it is very inspiring to see that there's another Punjabi guy pushing at it. Like, because I think he probably thought the same when he was younger. Like, you know, I don't think there were many Asian magicians around. Like, actually, even now, there's not many around. There's me, Magic Singh. There's an older guy who's also a Singh, but he sort of stays to the shadows a little bit.
Yo, I'm not even lying to you, bro. Like, you make the magic industry sound so cool. Like, I'm about to pack in comedy and pick up a pack of cards. Like, it's sick.
It is freaky. Like, it is strange. Like, I think having the older role models, I think that is a must, like, for any art form, because obviously you're going to look towards that and be like, if they can do it, I can do it. Yeah,
like, I think it's downplayed how important that representation is. Like, I'm pretty outspoken around, like, diversity quotas and stuff, so I don't think they should exist. But I think you need to go to, like, the root cause of problems. And for me, it was like seeing Russell Peters and Paul Chowdhury at, like, a pretty young age. I was able to be like, okay, cool. Like, you know, there is something there for like our people, and, like, you know, people from our community can make that sort of leap. So I fully agree with you. I think it's almost understated how important representation is.
Absolutely.
But it's, we were going back to the challenges point. So that was one. Have you had, like, any, like, instances where you were like, all right, fine, fuck this, like, I'm done?
Yeah, like, you know, there's been a few times, like, you know, I remember my first year of uni, I wasn't getting a lot of gigs at the start. like it's weird. You know, when you go into uni, like you finished high school in sixth form, and then like you're all of a sudden with this new group of people, and you're just like, snap, like how do I move on from it? And I remember I was really struggling to get like, because I'm not the kind of person that asks my parents for money, even though they would give it. I always like sort of going on my own, whatever my earnings are.
Yeah.
And there was like, I think a period from the start of first year until just after the second half where I wasn't getting bookings, and I don't know, it was weird. It was like, it was kind of like something stopped, like, but then I think I refound it later on in first year when I started doing club magic. I was like, I think that sort of reignited the fire almost. But
yeah,
it's weird. Like I think there's always going to be. It doesn't matter what career you do. You're always going to have that sort of hiccup at one point.
Yeah.
Where you're sort of questioning and you're thinking, is it worth me still doing this?
What like stage are you at now then? Because obviously we did some research now. Obviously, you've got a pretty big Twitter, Instagram following.
It's not that big.
Hey, man! Anything where there's 4 figures, that's a big. I'm on 259 followers, right?
We gotta get you a shout out.
Yeah, we got shout outs. We were trying to convince Saabs to get a tattoo earlier, like just off the bat.
Samosa Chat's tattoo, yeah.
Samosa Chat's tattoo. That's what we were trying to get. We need all of the marketing we can get. But like, so obviously you're like building now. But like, where would you say you're at in your career?
I'd say I'm just at that point where I'm trying. Like, I wouldn't say I'm trying to look for what's the next big thing. Like, I do my gigs, which is obviously just the income side of it. But when I'm not doing gigs, I'm just trying to push for whatever, big stuff that I can. Like whether it's like emailing YouTubers or other Instagrammers. Like just to do collabs or just go to. Like I done Love Box last year, and I was backstage with Steel Bangles and Miss Banks, and I was doing magic on them, and sadly I lost the footage with Steel Bangles because the guy...
Oh, I saw something about that. Yeah.
Oh man, if I can't begin to tell you how much footage I've lost over the years of celebrity, like me doing magic on celebrities.
Yeah.
And that's probably another challenge that I face, like finding a decent cameraman. There's a couple of good guys out there, Barvik, Magic Sing helps me film quite a few of my bits, but getting like actual good footage, that's been a main challenge for me. But I think the thing with my Instagram recently, which has had really good effect, like everyone always Snapchats and Instagrams and stuff. At the end of like most of the time, if they're on iPhone, I'll just say to them, I'm just be like, can you airdrop me that? And I'll feature it on my Instagram.
Sick.
And that way I'm not paying anyone to come with me to an event and do it. And secondly, like that footage, it's short and snappy enough that people are going to want to watch it on Instagram, because like you can upload a really long episode of magic and people are only going to watch it if it's on YouTube, but on Instagram people's attention span after 30 seconds is just gone. So you want something really super quick, and when people send you these little short clips on Snapchat and stuff, I think that's
an effect.
Yeah, and that's what sort of grown my following in the past few months since university finished.
Because isn't Magic Sing doing something with TikTok?
Yeah, he's one of the top worldwide on TikTok.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, because I was looking up at getting a TikTok account myself. Right,
I recommend it. I think it's
the next wave, isn't it? Yeah.
The thing is, with Instagram, it's like if you like something, like if you like a photo of a model, you're just going to see models on your explore page, whereas...
Hey man, there's some benefits to it.
There's benefits to that, but it's like everything on Instagram, it's based off what you like, whereas TikTok, you can follow who you want, and it's like how Instagram used to be when it started off. Like, there's a nice mix match of everything, like you get these music covers, or you get duets, or you get these really cool creative things where, people are making artworks or stuff, and...
Yeah.
Obviously Magic Sing does magic on there. I do magic on there. I make some fun videos as well, like just for laughs.
Yeah.
But I think the thing is TikTok's obviously for a younger crowd, like teens and kids. But I think because of that, it allows it to be more diverse, because there's a lot more that people can put into it.
Yeah. So you do magic for celebs and stuff. Who's the best celeb that you've done magic for?
Ooh.
Who's your favorite? Like, shout out Steel Bangles. Like, Steel Bangles is
great. Stormzy was my top one. He was such a gangster. So, I'll tell you how that happened years ago. So this was back in 2016, end of first year.
Yeah.
And I had my brother who used to go out clubbing with his friends. They went to this club called Cirque, which is like it's like they got like performers.
It's
and all
that
this kind of
circus hedonism.
Yeah, it's really like, it's one of these bougie clubs.
Yeah, they'll have like loads of like models with their tits out, but then there'll also be like a fat guy with his junk out as well.
Basically, yeah. It was really funny. Like I remember my first night, and I was thinking, where the hell am I? Like, so one of the promoters asked my brother, "Oh, do you know any magicians by any chance?" And he goes, "I'll send my little brother down." So I went, and like the first night they weren't paying me because they didn't know like obviously how I was, because I'd never done club magic before.
Yeah.
But because my stuff was so visual, I actually found out it worked. But I overheard the manager say, "Make sure Stormzy's well looked after." And I was like, "Is Stormzy here?" Like, and obviously, I don't think you're meant to meet the celebrities in these clubs because obviously they want their privacy. But the manager, he just looked at me for a few seconds. He was just like, "You know what? Come with me." And they took me over. And he was there with my jammer at the time. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's Stormzy in front of me. So went up to him, and the manager was like, "Stormzy, we've got some in-house entertainment if you want to watch some magic." And he was a really humble guy. He was like, "Oh, what's your name?" He was like, "Are you studying?" Like we were just sort of having a chat before I actually done any magic. He was really cool. And then he was like, "Bro, do your worst on me, go on." And I remember doing like I've got a screen recording of his Snapchat on my phone. I'll show you that. In a bit.
With that.
But he was recording me, and him and Maya are going mental, and like I was a bit scared to ask him for a photo. Like again, you don't want to be bothering celebs like that. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, "Would it be rude if I asked you for a photo?" And he was like, "Bro, come, let's take a photo together." Really humble.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Listen, I just wish you the best." And he was like, "Give me your business card as well." So
I'm
hoping one day he'll give me a call and be like, "Bro, I got a party, come down."
And then he'd be like, "I know this podcaster, right?"
He'd be like, "Stormzy, you want to come on this podcast with me?"
Yo, stop it, man. That would be beyond magic. That would be a miracle. You get Stormzy on here.
That'd be proper.
You get Stormzy on here, I'm going to start calling you Jesus. That's what I'm going to start doing.
Crazy thing about Stormzy, a week after that, that was the first time I'd done Love Box. And Stormzy was backstage there. So I was hired to entertain backstage artists there. So like there's Stormzy, Big Nasty, K-Coke, all these guys there. And Stormzy came and he's walking through the crowd and he just looks at me. He was like, "We met at the club last week, didn't we?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Come, I've got some friends for you." So he introduced me to like Lethal Bizzle and Gigs and a couple of others.
Oh shit. That's pressure. Imagine doing magic for gigs.
Yeah, oh man. Like it was crazy because the thing is, backstage, they're all wearing their normal clothes. They're not wearing like all these gold chains and everything. So it's like you kind of got to spot who's who. Yeah. And I didn't recognize Gigs, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's Gigs!" Like it only dawned on me last minute.
Bro, I'll be honest. You got big balls to be able to do magic on the spot. Anytime I tell anybody I'm like a comedian, the first thing they'll say is, "Tell me a joke." Bro, I feel like kicking people in the chest when they say that to me. Like, I was on a train, right? I was on a train from London to Reading. It was late. I'd had a few drinks. I was coming back from a gig. Start talking, like everybody's like real social on these trains. Yeah. And
that makes a change. Normally underground is like everyone refuses to talk to each other.
No. Get on the 1 o'clock from fucking London to Reading. You'll make best friends, right? With like everybody around you. I'm just trying to like sleep or whatever. And this like group like middle-aged people, they're like, "Oh, like what have you got written on your hand?" Blah. I was like, "Jokes, comedian, blah blah blah." Bro, I swear to you, they spent 20 minutes convincing me to tell a joke. Oh my God. Then when I wouldn't tell them a joke, they were like, "He's shit."
Oh, God.
I was like, oh. And then the fucking older dude, right? The older dude who should know better, who's definitely like at least 2 coronary arteries blocked, right? Like that level of middle age was like, "Oh, I'm going to tell you jokes." Went and Googled all these fucking dead jokes.
Geez.
It was the worst train journey of my life.
If I were you, I would have been like, "Yeah, this is my stop. I'm getting off."
Just get off at Southall, fuck it.
Oh my God. Like,
I hate that stuff. But yeah, like doing magic for gigs, man.
You'd be surprised. I get that as well. Like, when people say, "Oh, what do you do for a job?" Like now, like if I'm in a place where I'm not hired to do magic, I'll tell them I'm like, "Oh, I'm a graphic designer." Then they can't, it's not like they're gonna be like, "Oh, design me a logo." Like, but I've been at weddings and stuff where I've been specifically asked to be a guest, and they're like, "Look, don't bring your cards, don't bring anything. Just chill out. If anyone asks you for a trick, tell them to do one." Obviously, I'm not going to tell them to do one, but I'm going to nicely say, "Look, I'm not supposed to be doing it here."
It's not social.
I've been like harassed at parties. Like last year, my friend Harry was getting married, and he said, he was like, Saav, do not bring a deck of cards or anything. He goes, just like chill, drink, all that kind of stuff. I was like, cool. And I went, and obviously, because a lot of the people at the wedding went to Griffith High School, you know.
Yeah.
I was a pretty bait face, and
shout out to bait faces.
As I'm eating starters, like, you know, I'm with my friends, yeah. Like, someone grabbed me, pulled me off my chair, and I was just like, what the hell's going on? And they're like, oh, bro, you got to come to this table, do something. I was like, geez, I'm not supposed to be doing magic. And then I remember his sister came over and said, no one even try looking at him, let him chill out. And I was like, yeah, that's the groom's sister. You don't want to be messing with her. So I think, like, some people do get carried. Like, I understand everyone's like, oh, he's a magician, I want to see something. But there is a time and a place. Like, you know, like, obviously, while someone's eating, you don't want to yank them off their chair and, like, make them perform via
magic
table.
trick, bloody nose, bro.
Yeah.
We'll teach you that.
Like, there was another party I remember. So I was invited as a guest.
Yeah.
And it was by the friend of the guy who was organizing the party. And when I got there, like, this must have been in second year, and he goes, "Yo, you doing some magic?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm just chilling, man." And the guy goes, "Oh, what's the point of you being here then?" And I don't know. I just, for a few seconds, I went silent. I was like, you know what? There's a lot of other parties I could be going to right now. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
He's like, no, stay, do something. I was just like, nah, bro, I ain't staying here. Like, you know, have a fun party without
That's
me.
mad. Speaking of magic tricks, you got any cards or something? No, I'm joking. We
Look in your pocket.
Stop that weird. We were filming promo earlier. Obviously, you guys didn't get to see that. But then he said something similar, and I lost my shit. I was like, nah, he's been in my pockets. There's a lot of untoward shit in my pockets, bro.
You know what? I'll tell you a funny story. Back in first year, I had a wedding booking. This was near Heathrow, and I said, as a joke, I still even say it now. I said to this girl who had signed her name on a card, and like I was doing stuff with it.
Oh, standard. Sign your name, sign your number.
Phone number, everything.
Yeah.
I made the card vanish, and she was like, "Where has it gone?" And I was just like, "When you look under your pillow tonight, it's going to be there." And she was like, "Bullshit." And I was like, "Nah, it's actually going to be there." And I was just like, you know what? Normally I tell people it's a joke.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Nah, I swear to God, it's going to be there under your pillow tonight with your signature." And she was like, "Yeah, we'll see about that." And like, as the party went on, obviously, like, by the time I was about to go home, I found her husband, who was by himself. And I was just like, "Does your missus still think I'm going to make a card appear on the pillow?" And he goes, "Mate, she's got it out for you." And I was like, "Look, she left the card with me. Stick that under her pillow tonight." No joke, yeah. And he was like, "Do you think she's going to fall for it?" I was like, "Look, you got my business card. Text me and just let me know, like, if she falls for it." So he waited until they were asleep, and he put the card on the pillow. And obviously, when she woke up,
it was there.
She's like, "What's that under the pillow?" And there's a card there. And she flipped out.
Bro, I'm surprised you're not on some sort of register.
Bro, no joke, yeah. So he texted me like what she was saying. She's genuinely convinced that throughout the gig, I found out where they lived, went to the yard, broke in, left the card there, walked out, locked all the doors.
That's amazing.
And done that for a magic trick. And he goes, "Giza, she wanted to call the police and everything." And I was just like, did she actually do it? And she was like, "No, I obviously had to stop her." And he was like, "But I haven't got the heart to tell her that you told me to put the card there."
That's an instant divorce, bro. Anybody fucks with my mental health like that, that's a divorce.
It is scary when you think about it. Like, and to this day, she's still convinced that I done that.
I hope she's listening to this thing. Like, this will be a
she's
great
probably on
reveal.
there somewhere. And you know what? Since then, like, I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? This is really funny. So once every few gigs, I'll actually do that. Like,
that's amazing.
To someone who's suggestible enough to believe it.
Yeah.
And you know, I've had some funny stories since then.
Do you like target people if you're doing like let's say you're doing like a gig, I don't know, a corporate gig or something? Do you target people to be like, "I'll do it on this person," or do you have that confidence in your tricks to be like, "Nah, I could do it to anybody"?
In terms of what, like just a general set or like
general set or specific tricks?
Yeah, like I sort of like I go up to people, like obviously, you know, like if you're at a corporate and you know, like these guys are just sort of having a serious conversation, I'm like, I don't really want to be interrupting that because you know they're probably going to give me crap energy.
Yeah.
But if I go to someone that's smiling, they've probably got a drink in their hand, you know, like they're there to enjoy.
Yeah.
So I'll just go up to him and be like, hey guys, I'm doing some magic. Like, I'm so casual about it. Like, there's other magicians out there, they're like, you got to be really professional at corporate. And I'm like, mate, the more casual you are, the more they appreciate you as a person.
Yeah.
Because you're not this robot that's scripted, like you're just a normal person that's just there to entertain. And I feel that they appreciate magic more after that, because they're like, this guy actually took his time to come over and just give us a good laugh.
That makes sense. What's like the worst you've ever like just bombed?
The worst
What's
trick,
the worst? No, just like the worst experience you've ever like. When have you done something where it's like, I don't know. Firstly, I guess like, do magicians have like their form of bombing? Because I can go up to a room, be booked for 10 minutes, not get one laugh, and then like go. Like, I've never been booed. Yeah, I have actually. I've been booed once. I was gonna say I've never been booed. I've been booed a couple of times.
It's horrible getting booed, isn't it? Like,
bro, it will mentally scar you up.
That stuff will make you want to give up your career. Like,
I did this gig over in Leicester Square, and it's like notorious. Like, it's the worst. It's the most brutal open mic. It's at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
I was heading up, and I was following a guy who just absolutely murdered. I'm like 3 months in at the time.
Oh man.
It was Victor, Victor the comedian. Victor killed that night. I was going on after him. They're still like fucking cheering him when they've introduced me. As I'm walking up, this like proper like hot like 20-year-old blonde chick just looked at me and gone, he's gonna be shit.
Oh, jeez.
Literally, as soon as I'm like, she was front row as well, and I looked around.
What a way to knock someone's confidence down.
Bro, I died on my ass. That was the worst experience I've ever had.
You can imagine, like, yeah, he's gonna be shit. Like,
yeah, I'm like, what do you want? What do you want me to come in a clown suit? Like, what do you want? What's like your equivalent of that?
Damn, that's like, there's been.
You're looking at me like, bro, I don't do that shit.
Like, you could be the best magician in the world, but you always have those moments. But there's been a few. I'd say, I think this was like, again, in second year. I think this was. I went up to a table. This was at a birthday party. In Radisson, and all these tables, they're good so far, but like, certain tables you go up to, you don't know whether you're going to win or lose. Like, you don't know if they're going to be good people or if they're going to be bad people. But these guys, like, I think the first thing I done was that thing with the lottery tickets.
Yeah.
And no joke.
So he basically turns lottery tickets into actual physical money.
Yeah, if you guys got any lottery tickets, send them my way. I'm sure I can sort you out. No one reacted. Like, everyone just had a straight face on. Like, and, it's a Punjabi party, and I'm just thinking, like, I'm one of them. Don't they think this is cool? Like, so like, they're all there. Like, they're not even smiling. They just got straight faces on. Yeah. And they're all a young crowd. That's the worst thing. Yeah.
Oh, so you can't even just blame it on the generation thing. Yeah.
And then I thought I'd do some more stuff. And then, I don't know, it's like, when stuff like that happens, it's like, you start to sweat. Yeah. And like, I never sweat, but I was just like, oh my gosh, these guys, they genuinely, I don't know whether they were in a bad mood or maybe they were just like that, but after that, I don't know, I sort of went outside. I was just like, oh my gosh, that was so horrible. And I took like a little break. I was like, okay, if the next table bombs as well, then
I'm out.
Then I'm out. And it bombed, but it wasn't as bad. Like, some of the people still gave me a bit of a reaction. I was like, okay, that was.
Is that the worst thing that can happen to a magician then? It's just like flat, no energy, flat faces.
Yeah, like, like, I understand if the magician's being rude or something, but, like, if you're being cool with your crowd and, like, you're hoping that they're liking you, it is sort of like, what the hell am I doing? Because either the trick is shit or you're shit.
It's one or the other.
Yeah, it's one or the other. And like,
I like that.
It is really weird. Like, but I think you'll always have those moments. I think one of my friends, he was telling me he went to a gig and there was 4 tables there. And he was there for 2 hours, So I was like, 4 tables in 2 hours. That's like a half an hour job, if that. And he goes, no one reacted throughout the whole evening. No one reacted. Like, they all just, like, it was the same experience I had. Like, they just had straight faces on. They didn't want to talk. Like, they were just looking at each other. And then, like, I think he was getting paid in cash at the end of it. And when he said, oh yeah, I'm done now, the guy was like, well, what about those guys? Like, no one was screaming. And like, he was like, yeah, like,
you're just like, count me more money so I can leave before they do.
And he goes, on the drive home, he was just like, he felt like absolute shit in the car.
Fuck,
like,
I can imagine that. One of my friends was one of my comedy mates was he was telling us a story about where two comedians went on, absolutely bombed at the Hackney Empire.
Oh god.
Absolutely just fucking bombed, right? 2,000 people in the room. Went to get the tube. The show had finished. and people from that gig were on the same tube as them, on the
Oh.
same fucking carriage, and they had to sit there and be like, they acknowledged it because obviously the
Yeah.
punters were drunk, innit? So they were like, "Oh, you're the two comedians," and they had to sit there and be like fucking bullied until like the next stop.
That is horrendous.
I could not
I
imagine
would
anything
die.
worse.
I'd be like, I'm giving up magic, man. Like,
yeah,
sometimes
sometimes,
a pop downer on your career. Like,
bro, sometimes, right? Sometimes you'll finish like a gig in like a pub and you won't do too well, and then like it'll be the break. So if you're
Yeah.
closing out, it'll be the break. Everybody's at the bar, and then you have to like walk.
you have to sort of
through them.
creepily do this.
Yeah, like you're just like, like, and then you have to like, but you have to carry this air of confidence, like, it
Yeah.
was just a bad show, like, I'm good. So you have to like bop out of there. Really inside, you're just like, wow, just kill me, just absolutely, I just want to die. And then the other way, there's the flip side as well, though, where it's like when you kill, and then like everybody's like, oh, you're doing great, and like
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, of course I am, of course I am.
I think it's funny, like, you know, like with different crowds as well. Like, you know, you go to a pub and all these Gordie are sitting there and they're just like, oh, brilliant, nice,
Yeah.
nice comedy act. And then, you know, you go to a Punjabi wedding and everyone's screaming and going like crazy.
Yeah.
You're just thinking, why are the reactions so different from culture to culture? And then, you know, like you do something
Yeah.
at Notting Hill Carnival, everyone's screaming like running away. Like,
I did New York, and I did a couple of rooms in Harlem, like what they call
Yeah.
black rooms. So there's all just like young black people. Punchlines there, like they laugh. Like they'll let you know if you're shit.
Yeah.
They'll let you know if you're good, right? But when they laugh, it's like something that you're like, wow, I am a comedian.
Yeah, like,
because like
you-
there's people
you get that
falling out of their
boost.
chairs and shit. Like they're proper going in.
I feel like in America, like art in general is more appreciated. Like,
Do you think?
yeah, like, you know, like it's weird, like, and I know it's bad to say, but in the UK, let's face it, people want to see you F up. Yeah. Like, let's face it, people want to see you bomb hard.
Mm.
Like when I went to California a couple of years ago, and then we went to Vegas and New York, and we were doing street magic there. And it's like, you know, over here, when we're filming street magic, we struggle to find people. Like, people are like, oh, we don't want to see it or whatever. And then over there, it was like, we were doing just a couple of tricks, and people were coming to us, and they were like, you guys, like, doing street magic or YouTube? And
Yeah.
we're just like, whoa, like, people are sort
Yeah, I do think they are probably more open, aren't they?
of, yeah.
Like you do get crowds and stuff. So even like in the subways where it's like buskers.
yeah, like, busking's really big out there. Like,
Yeah.
I know the underground is big here, but over there it's something else. Like,
Yeah. Like
they got, like, proper bands on the buskers.
I was just about to-
Underground's
yeah.
there, over
Yeah,
there, and that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff.
So I think maybe there is some truth to that, and also the culture. I think it's like more like acceptable, innit? Like
Yeah.
it's more acceptable to go speak to somebody.
Absolutely.
It's like they're a little bit more intrigued.
Like over here, you know, you remember when David Blaine came to the UK?
Yeah.
He done that thing in the box.
Oh, where he was was it standing?
Yeah,
or
he was
where-
there for like, I don't know, something 40
Yeah.
days or whatever it was. And it was over London Bridge. Like, you know, people were throwing sausages at him. And one guy flew a drone up there with a McDonald's bag saying, you're missing out on this.
Oh my
And I was
god!
like, British audiences are violent, man. Like, if they want to see you F up, they will do whatever they can to see you fail. Like, and they're gonna flourish in that failure. They're gonna be
We're
like,
just
yeah,
straight
look, you
up
messed
dicks.
up. Like, but it is strange. Like, when you get out of the UK, you find out how much your art is actually appreciated,
Yeah.
especially in America. Like,
Yeah, it's true. It's true. What advice would you give to somebody who's like, not just maybe not just like pursuing magic, but like something totally different, like proper creative field?
honestly, just if you have if you're brown and you've got relatives saying don't do this, don't listen to them, like, do it, because you know, like, you never know where it's going to land you. You know, when I got the magic set, I never knew that this was going to be a full-time job. But you know, if you look at me now, I'm able to completely live off magic.
That's amazing.
Whereas, you know, like, you know, just don't listen to people around you who put you down. Like, push for it, and if something doesn't work out, maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe you're supposed to do it a different way. But I think, you know, like, just keep pushing. Like,
Just gotta go for it, innit?
yeah, like, if you don't go for it, you'll never know.
Yeah.
Like,
It's amazing. Yeah, I fully share that, man. Especially like hearing like with you, like people saying, "Nah, don't." Now look at you. Like,
yeah, like, I
doing
think in the
bits.
Indian community, I think creative stuff isn't really accepted as it should be yet. Like, I think in a few years' time, like, the new generations, they'll probably let their kids do whatever they want. But you know, like, remember, some families these days, they still think it's like the 1970s and everyone's
Yeah.
just come to England. Like, it's really strange. Like, when I see kids whose parents don't let them do what they want, I'm just like, that kid is definitely going to go against their parents and do crazy stuff when it gets to uni and all that kind of stages.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, if any parents listening, like, let your kids do what they want. Like,
yeah, any parents listening, don't be dicks. That's what
Yeah.
we're
Don't
essentially
be
saying.
dicks.
Don't be dicks. That's the takeaway from this podcast. Where can people find you as well?
So Instagram, Saav Magician, YouTube Saav Magician, and on my Instagram I normally announce if I'm doing anything public. So hip hop brunch I do, bad brunch I do.
Wicked.
I do tape London. It's a little bit tricky for me to get people in there. Because it's really
I
bougie.
bet your phone's blown up. Like, Sav, can you get us in?
You'd be surprised the amount of texts I get. They're like, "Yo, can you get us into the club tonight?" I'm like, "Oh," and I'm just like. Yeah,
Like people you haven't seen for like 7-8 years, like, oh fam, you still doing magic on that? Like, can we?
Oh god, gosh, they're the worst. Like, that's the thing. It's like you know, like when you're younger and like this isn't kicking off, no one wants to hear from you, and then when you're kicking off, everyone's hitting up your phone, and you're just like, really? Like, it's just everyone. Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say to that. Like,
you just know. Like, I can get you on the guest list, but no, you're not coming in.
Yeah, like it's very rare that I want someone to sort of come to those. Like, if it's hip hop brunch, cool, because it's such a casual thing. But you know, like in all these sort of bougie clubs, you know, there's people spending thousands of pounds in there. So, you know, like.
And at the end of the day, you got to impress, innit?
Yeah, you know, I'm only there as a magician. You know, if I was maybe on door staff, then maybe. Like, but you know, like I can't really do much unless the staff let me.
You'd make a wicked bouncer, man. You'd make a wicked bouncer because you'd just be disappearing people out of the queue.
You know what? I'll tell you a funny story about tape. Years ago, so this is back in 2017, when I first went. So I do this weird thing where I go a lot of places by myself, whether it be the movies or a restaurant. Like, if someone isn't up to hang out with me, I'll just be like, cool, I'm going to do it by myself. So this was back when I worked in Cirque. I went to tape because everyone was talking about it. And I was like, I want to see what this place is like. And obviously, I didn't know it was another, Mayfair club. So I turned up at the door. And the door girl at the time, Lou Chan, if you're watching this, hearing this, then this is what happened. She was like, are you on the guest list? I was like, no. And she was like, have you got a table reservation? I was like, no. And she sort of looked at me really funny. And because obviously you need to know someone who would be spending a lot of money to get into these places. And then I said, oh, I'm a magician. And she was like, say what? And then the bouncer behind her was like, I've seen this guy do his stuff at the other clubs.
Yeah.
And he goes, Geezer, bust out a trick on her. So I done the trick with the £20 notes. And I was like, so I overheard it was £20 to get in. And all the staff just sort of looked. Like, everyone went silent. Show us a trick, yeah, literally. And she was like, you know what, you can come in. And ever since then, they let me in as a guest. I used to go there to party, wicked. And then, now I've got a job there as their in-house magician. So.
That's crazy. That's wicked. So, Tinder and magic.
Tinder and magic. Funnily enough, I am on Tinder. I don't really use it much, but it's because someone signed me up on it, and I was just like, I'm not using it.
Yeah, all right, that old chestnut. Somebody signed me.
No. I think I'll put it down as superhero at Avengers Limited or something like that. Because I'm proper into my.
Of course, you got no matches then.
You know what? Yeah, no one's gonna go out with a geek like that. But it's really funny because my mate who set it up, like, it's just on my phone. It sort of stays dormant. But I told my mate, I was like, I can't be on this because if I'm at a gig and someone recognizes me like from Tinder, that's a bit embarrassing. Like, I'll be honest, one of the first matches I had, she was like, we've met before. I was like, oh gosh, where? And she goes, oh, you were doing magic at a wedding. I was like, oh my God, like, I can't be doing this. So after that, I just stayed away from it.
We're in two different camps, man. I'm on Tinder specifically for
I'm
somebody
a
to be.
comedian.
Yeah. There were two boosts, right? There were two boosts in my matches. One was when I put my height down, and the second was when I put comedian down. And I had a similar story. I matched with a girl. This is probably about a year and a bit ago. Matched with this girl, and she's like, "Oh, I think I've seen you do like," because it's all over my fucking Tinder, right? Says it in the bio. There's several pictures. There's a little mini video, right? So she goes to me. She goes, "Oh, I saw you. I saw you at this place." And I was like, "Oh shit, when?" And bro, it was probably the second worst gig I've ever done.
Oh man.
I was like, "Why are you even talking to me?" And she was like, "Yeah, you weren't very good."
Oh well, at least you put it bluntly.
Yeah, I mean that was embarrassing. But like, it must like create some form of like appeal.
Yeah, like, I've got loads of friends that are like, oh, use your powers for evil, and I'm just like, you lot make it sound like I'm some sort of like
sex pest.
Yeah, And like, don't get me wrong, I guess it is.
Don't get me wrong, I am a sex pest.
Like, I guess it is cool to use magic, like when it comes to dating and stuff. But I personally believe that, you know, like if I'm going out with someone, like I try to keep magic far away from it, because like it's one thing taking someone out on a date, and then it's another thing like there's a pack of cards on the table, and I'm just like, oh god, like I'm gonna have to do card tricks. Like, no joke. This was a couple of years ago, again in second year. I was out with someone, and obviously my thing was like, oh, I'm a magician. I think that's what sort of got her interested. And then on the day, it was just like, do a magic trick every 5 minutes, and I was like, oh. Right.
You like a performing monkey?
Yeah, I was literally a performing monkey, and that's why nowadays I don't tell people that I'm a magician. Like, especially if I think it's someone I can talk to. Like, I've actually made a private Instagram just so people don't like. Someone actually, funnily enough, someone I messaged on there said, I think I've seen you somewhere before. You're a magician. I was like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm a graphic designer.
I'm a graphic designer. She's like, oh, it's really strange. There's a guy that looks like you and he does magic. And he has the same look as you and everything. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not telling her.
Nah. I do a lot of magic tricks on dates as well. I make a lot of dates disappear.
Oh man, you and me both.
just during starters, they just leave.
Steven just like, yeah, see that? They never came back.
I'm telling you, man. There's a lot of game. I'll be your Tinder coach. We'll get you on that.
We need to do that, isn't it?
Yeah. That's my talent. I'm not actually a comedian. I'm a Tinder coach.
Oh my god.
It must be. Yeah, I don't know, man. It must be like weird because like being. I wouldn't say like public eye because I don't want to like fucking sound cheesy in it. But it's like being recognized and stuff must be weird.
Like it has happened like a few times. Like. It's a very humbling experience that someone recognizes you off your social media, especially like, you know, I'm still below 10K. So if someone recognizes me out on the street or something, which has happened before, I'm just like, whoa, like, what are the odds of that happening? Like, I've actually written down every time it's happened, just so like, you know, if I do make it big one day, I can look back on that.
Yeah.
One time I was shopping in Hounslow. This was earlier last year. So I was with my mate Harry. And this school kid came up to me, young Singh, probably about 14.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, bro, I follow you on Instagram. And I played dumb and I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. He was like, hang on. And he's like, this is you, isn't it? And he showed me my page. I was like, oh my gosh, this kid actually follows me. And my mate, he's behind. He was just looking at me like, oh my God, so I've got recognized. And he was like, bro, could I have a photo with you if that's cool?
Yeah.
And I was like, that made my entire day. I was like, this kid follows me and he wanted a photo with me. Like, you know, let's face it, I'm no one big at the moment, but that was a very humbling experience.
Yeah, I bet. What's like next for you?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, if you could plan it out, like, where does your like career go?
I think, like right now I'm trying to make sure, you know, like magic's just a steady income at the moment. But social media, you know, I'm really trying to go in strong on that at the moment. Like, all my gigs are all over, you know. And, like, I just try to plaster as much visual stuff as I can on the page, but I think the end goal is probably TV or a theatre show. Like, I'd love to have a live show purely because so many people say, can I see you live? And, you know, like, most of the time it's private events, so I can't really invite someone to someone's wedding and be like, yeah, you can see me live there. But if it's a touring show, then, you know, people can actually come and see me and get to know me. And I feel like it's different knowing someone through Instagram and then knowing them in real life. Because who knows, you might be two different characters when it comes to it. Yeah. But I think theatre shows and TV, that, like, the thing is, there's no Punjabi magicians on TV or no coloured magicians on TV. There's Troy who done something a few years ago. Right. But after that, it's sort of magic sort of just...
Is magic actually quite a diverse industry then? Like, so outside of our own community?
Not really. Like, it is... I'm going to sound racist here, but it is mainly old white men. Like, it is a very cliched thing, but it is. There are more and more sort of ethnic magicians coming out. You know, there's me, there's Magic Singh. One of my friends, Magical Bones, he's a black guy. He does breakdancing and magic, so he mixes the two. Yeah. There's him. Who else is there? Like, yeah, there are a few characters out there, but like,
why do you think there's a lack?
I think, like, in all honesty, I think there's probably a lot more than I've seen, but because like I'll be honest, inside the magic community it is very cliquey, so a lot of magicians don't show themselves to the magic world. Like, you know, some of the best magicians in the world might not even be in the magic circle. So I think that there are a lot of hidden magicians out there that don't want to sort of be in that limelight yet.
Yeah, wizards. We call them wizards.
Yeah, literally.
They're just like
they
on
are
quests.
out there. It's just, it is mainly a thing for like older white dudes. Like, but it is slowly changing. Obviously, after David Blaine came on TV, obviously, you know, loads of young kids started doing it. Everyone was like going out in a t-shirt and jacket, doing it on the streets. Obviously, Magic Singh, you know, he got inspired by David Blaine, and he's inspiring a lot of Punjabi magicians as well. And, you know, again, like going back to earlier, if I hadn't seen him, I wouldn't have thought it was possible to be successful as a Punjabi magician.
Yeah.
So they are out there. I think it's just a matter of time before they just want to be in the limelight, really.
Yeah. When it comes to like tricks, and I don't think we actually covered this actually earlier, but like, how do you create a trick?
That's a really good question. Magic is old, like thousands of years old. Like, you know, the cups and balls trick? They used to do that at the time with the Egyptian pharaohs and stuff. So,
for real?
Yeah, it's like, oh man, it's impossibly odd. So there's seven things in magic that you can do. So whether it might be a vanish, an appearance, or a teleport, you know, like there's loads of things. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but sometimes you sort of, I look at old tricks and think, how can I make it modern, like for my kind of environment? And I've actually got friends, one of my mates, Luke Oslin, he's 16 or 17, I think, and his job is to actually create magic for, you know, bigger magicians. So I think he's doing stuff with Dynamo at the moment. He does stuff with me, and basically, you know, like we'll give him an object and he'll work on it for a week and be like, okay, this is what I've come up with. So like, I don't know, maybe if I give him a phone, he'll be like, okay, we're going to make the phone vanish and make it appear, you know, somewhere halfway across the room or something. So it's just a lot of experimentation, really. Like, there's, you know, that thing I do with the lottery tickets?
Yeah.
There is...
we'll put that on the Instagram.
Yeah, so there's a new version of that I'm doing on my Instagram right now. And only a few people have seen it because I don't want other magicians to nick it. But I do that, and then every magician thinks it's over. But after that, I immediately turn it into another currency. So it's sort of just experiment with old tricks and seeing what works. Like, there's an old trick in magic where you take a pint glass and you tilt it upside down over someone's head, and the water stays in there.
Right.
Yeah, and like you do this on stage, and I was just like, that's really boring. Like, you know, like for stage, yeah, it works well, but how can I make that work for my environment? So I actually do this in nightclubs, but I don't do it with a pint glass. I do it with the shot glasses that they give to people.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, can I borrow your shot? And I'm just like, check this out, and I'll put my hand over it. And there's a video on my Instagram. I'll send you guys that as well. Next thing you know, the shot's staying in there. So it's the same trick, but it's 21st century. Yeah, it's modernized. And I've got my friends at Prop Dog to thank for that, because they're the ones who helped develop that.
Did they, so like you mentioned something about magicians nicking jokes. Is that like a big thing?
Yeah.
No, sorry, magicians nicking tricks. Yeah. Because obviously in like the comedy world, like you nick a joke, you're done.
Yeah, like, you know, like magic, it's because it's so old. Like, a lot of people do the same stuff, like, I'll be honest, but you know, like there's certain magicians, you know, like everyone charges differently, but it's kind of like you get what you pay for. Like, the more expensive magicians, you'll find that they're doing stuff that the guys that are charging a lot less aren't doing.
Yeah.
So like, whenever I go out and I see other magicians perform, if I see them do any trick that I do, I try to stop doing it immediately, purely because you don't know how many people you're gonna bump into at gigs that say, "Oh, I saw a magician do that." And like, there was one guy on Britain's Got Talent recently. He done a trick involving a marker pen, and like, there were only a few people doing it before that, but after that, it's like every time I've done it since then, they're like, "Oh, I saw that on Britain's Got Talent," and I'm just like, "Oh, it's a bait trick now." Like, you know, like,
it's done. Yeah.
So I've just stopped doing that. The only time I ever do it is like the odd moment in the nightclub, because it's one of those very visual tricks. But I think it's just, like I said, it's just experimentation.
Yeah.
Like, if someone else is doing it, I don't want to do it.
What's like your favorite trick that's like exclusive to Saav?
Oh.
Or like exclusive to the best of your knowledge, obviously.
I'd say right now it is that change with the receipts and the lottery tickets on my Instagram, when I do it twice, because I know nobody out there is actually doing that, and if they are, they probably saw it on my social media. Not to be arrogant, but it has not been anywhere. And like the only other guy that does that, he doesn't exist on social media and he doesn't do gigs.
Gotcha. So if anybody else out there is doing it, fuck you, all right?
Yeah, fuck you guys. There are other things that I do, but I don't know. I don't want to talk about them because I feel like magicians are just gonna listen in and they're gonna be like, all right, we can piece that together. Let's steal this.
Bro, you got some major faith in where this podcast is going. Like the outreach.
Bro,
I love it.
It's crazy. Like it's so weird. Like I know everyone should have their own original material, but it's so weird why people would want to steal someone else's act. Like if you're gonna use someone else's trick, do it differently or present it differently. Like I've seen people put stuff on Instagram. And I'm like, I done that a few days ago, like,
right.
And it's really strange, but you know,
is it like the concept of like parallel thinking? So in like comedy, there's like there's like outright theft, but then there's like parallel
creation.
Yeah, like somebody else has just created something and you've just stolen the whole thing. Or there's parallel thought, where it's like there's like certain things that are just obvious.
Yeah.
Like making connections between like a lot of ISIS material and stuff. Like
it depends, yeah.
For some reason, it's always ISIS material. I don't know why. Like ISIS material is
I think
just
it is definitely possible. Like obviously, there are lots of magicians that think the same, and obviously, there's obviously outright theft, like with both comedy and magic. But you know, like there is independent creation. Like maybe who knows? Maybe halfway across the world, like somewhere is doing something I've made specifically for myself, and I know that guy hasn't copied me because he probably isn't copying. Maybe he doesn't even know I exist, or I don't know he exists. But like stuff does happen like that. And I think when that does happen, I think a lot of people document their stuff, like put it on YouTube, so they do a copyright on it and all that. But I think there's always a mutual understanding if it is something where they've both created it, and
right.
Like it depends if you're really profiting off it. I think that's the main thing.
Wicked.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know, man. Like, I like look at magic and stuff. Like, it's so strange to me. Like the whole like concept of like somebody can
scary stuff, isn't it?
No, I wouldn't even say like scary. Like just like the thought process of being able to like sit down and be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna make this disappear. Like
it is freaky. Like I do sometimes sit down and I just think, how I'm going to make this disappear, and I'm just like, that is not possible whatsoever. And then I'll get one of my guys calling me and they're like, oh, we came up with a way to do it, and I'm just like, wow.
So wait, just to take a step back, so you have like a team?
I wouldn't say a team. I'd say guys that I work with from time to time. Yeah, I definitely collaborate. Like Magic Sing, me and him collaborate a lot. Like there's loads of guys out there. I think we all sort of. Anyone who's sort of like-minded, like, me and Magic Sing, because we do a lot of social media stuff, we're always, telling each other, maybe this would work or that would work, and we sort of just look at the best. The thing is, he done film and, I think it was film and TV production in uni, so he's got the eye for how to film things and how to get that shot and how to make it look great. So I think we both got our expertise in different areas, which is great.
Wicked. Sounds good. Crazy. That's wicked. So Saav Magician. Is it Saav Magician or Saav the Magician?
Saav Magician.
Saav Magician. We'll link up all of his stuff like down below, like on YouTube and Apple and stuff. Thanks for coming through, bro. It's been genuinely a pleasure.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Wicked. Woo! £20.